1,000 days of no sex. There's a period in my life from the fall of 2017 to spring of 2021 where I completely eliminated dating and completely eliminated hooking up with women. The year leading into this, I was heartbroken, was beginning my creative career, and was trying to get my shit together on what I wanted to do with my life post-college. Wanting to go all in on myself, I spent zero time or energy pursuing women and used all that time for myself. During this period of my life, it was truly challenging because I felt ashamed to admit this to anyone, and I kept it to myself. Today, we're going to dive into the 4 lessons that I learned while going 1,000 days of celibate. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. Each week on these solo podcasts, we dive into topics to help you become the best version of yourself. Now, do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. This is just my bearded wisdom that I hope brings value to you. Now, if you enjoy this episode at any moment in time, at any second during this podcast, if you're like, you know what, this bearded man, he's kind of smart. He kind of knows what he's talking about. I don't think he's got all the answers, but I like what he's preaching. If you enjoyed this episode at any moment in time, please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you're listening in on, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, you name it. Post it to your IG story. Tag your boy at Bob A. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and a Y. Share the podcast on your IG story. Let me know what was the biggest takeaway. How did this episode change your perspective? I would be very curious to know for what I'm about to dive into today. So please, if you enjoyed any moment of time, screenshot it, share it out. Help spread the word about the bearded man. Thank you very much. 1,000 days of celibacy. In March of 2021, I released a podcast with this exact same title. At the beginning, at the time of publishing it, it was one of those moments where I said to myself, am I really about to drop this to the world? For me, this was one of, if not the most personal podcast episode that I had ever opened up on. And that nervousness of releasing it is what gave me the green light to hit publish. For me, this was one of, if not definitely the most personal topic. So it was a little nerve-wracking hitting that publish button. I knew entering the podcast space that if you want to stand out from the crowd and truly impact people's lives, you need to be fully transparent and honest. That's the type of stuff that resonates, and people can relate to it. It's the best way to build a genuine connection with the listeners, which is what I always wanted to do from the beginning. Till this day, I have not received so much feedback on a single solo episode as I did on that one. A few weeks ago, I posted a TikTok with the same title, and it gathered hundreds of thousands of views and tons of comments. It was clear to me that people need to hear about experiences like this and what it can do for you. I am by no means suggesting that you go on a celibacy journey. I'm just here to present how it happened for me and what I learned from it. I am by no means suggesting it. Just want to make that clear. When I was on this celibacy journey from fall of 2017 through spring of 2021, I kept this a secret and I wouldn't tell anyone. I felt shame about it and never brought it up to really anyone. If someone asked when was the last time I hooked up with a girl, I would just kind of brush off the question and say it had been a while and just kept changing the subject. To be fair, I didn't go into this journey thinking I'm going to go celibate for 1,000 days. It really just started by me creating a boundary around myself so that I could focus on myself and not let anyone in. Having been heartbroken, trying to figure out my post-college life, I just decided I didn't want to waste any time, energy, or money investing in someone else so I could find the answers to these questions of mine. What's interesting is that I never even knew what the word celibacy, I never knew existed until after I had finished it. To be clear for those listening that maybe understand what celibacy are, or sometimes it can be like, well, if you're celibate, what exactly does that mean in context for you? For me, it was holding back from sexual relations with anyone. So no sex, no nothing from anyone. Full transparency, during this period of my life, there were a lot of times that it would get very dark for me. I started assuming that I was of no value because no woman wanted me. It wasn't until years later that I realized that the only reason no woman wanted anything to do with me was because I was shut off and I wasn't allowing it. I would think that I'm not a true man because real men hook up with girls often. This is also false and a script that I had written in my head because of how society portrays men, and that simply just was not true. I also felt like I wasn't loved only because I had no attention from anyone on an intimate level, which is a terrible perspective to have when I had so much love from family and friends around me. Looking back on this period of my life, I have no regrets. Although I felt lonely while I was on this journey, I was waking up every day with 100% of my time, attention, and energy focused on me. It provided me the space to learn more about myself, to get clear on what I want in a partner. It allowed me to really jumpstart my creative career and taught me some incredibly important lessons, which I'll get into now. 4 lessons from 1,000 days of celibacy. Number 1, fall in love with yourself first. I'm thankful that I realized this at 22 and not years later. In my bearded opinion, too many people are chasing love when they don't even know themselves. They're constantly seeking and searching one relationship and then on to the next one without even truly understanding who they are, what their strengths or weaknesses are, career dreams they have, etc. I instead approached it from the opposite direction. I took the time to really get to know myself, which then allowed me to fall in love with the person that I see in the mirror. Through those years of zero dating, not only did I get to know myself better, but I was able to understand what exactly it was that I wanted and would need in a partner if I let them into my life. This helped me build a solid foundation in me so that when I did throw myself back into the dating game and was open to talking to women, I was actually way more confident because I was already in love with myself. And if someone didn't feel the same way, so be it. I'll keep it moving. So lesson number 1, fall in love with yourself first. We need to get to know the person we see in the mirror first before we spend any time or energy trying to attract love from someone else. Quick break from today's episode, and then we'll get right back to it. Today's episode is brought to you by the greatest matcha brand in the world, Tenzo Tea. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been using this product since the top of 2021, and it's been an absolute game changer. This product is what helps me stay extremely energized throughout the week and helps me stay productive. And when I say energized, I don't mean like caffeine addicted. I'm scratching my neck. I got the jitters. This is a sustained energy throughout the day product. It has been an absolute game changer. I use it once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and this keeps me productive, focused, and just feeling great throughout my day. 64% of American adults drink coffee every day, and they pay the price with dehydration, jitters, anxiety, and headaches. Switching out the morning coffee for matcha helps us stay level-headed, focused, and we get to avoid the coffee crash. Who likes a coffee crash? Not I and not you. Tenzo Matcha contains natural caffeine and L-theanine and keeps you energized and focused like a Zen monk. If you head over to tenzot.co, use my promo code TheBeardedMan, all one word, that gets you 25% off every single order. That's tenzot.co, TheBeardedMan, all one word, gets you 25% off every order. And each half teaspoon of serving has 36 milligrams of caffeine, natural occurring L-theanine, and switches your brainwaves to make you focus, meditative state. It's truly an incredible product. I mean, this podcast is truly all about helping you guys and gals reach your inner potential. And there is no better way to do it than with a product that's helping you stay focused, that's helping you feel energized, and honestly, just helping you get through your day. So I would highly suggest it. Head over to tenzot.co, use my promo code TheBeardedMan, all one word. You're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. Share it out and let me know what you guys and gals think of it. It's a great product, and it's going to help you reach your potential. Now back to today's episode. Number 2, happiness doesn't come from someone else. I'm guilty as charged, having previously thought that in order to find true happiness, it is going to have to come from a significant other. From my experience, having an intimate relationship, of course, helps bring a certain joy, but it is not the only way to find true happiness. I also used to think that material items would bring me happiness, but once again, not the case. In my opinion, true happiness can be found right here, right now, doing whatever it is that you are doing. Happiness is found in the journey, not the destination. It's on me and you to change our perspective and to see it this way. Why wait for someone, something, or some goal to bring us happiness when we can do our best to find it today in this very moment? I think happiness can go hand in hand with gratitude, being thankful for everything that we have instead of worrying about everything that we don't have. So lesson number 2, happiness doesn't come from someone else. Yes, an intimate relationship will bring joy, but we can find happiness in our day-to-day lives by having gratitude for the journey that we are on. Number 3, be mindful of who you spend your time and energy on. I spent a large majority of my life single. I haven't been in a relationship since I was in high school, and that lasted 3 months. So 1,000 days of celibacy isn't the only period of my life that I wasn't just focused on someone else. Because of this, I've learned to be very mindful of who I spend my time and energy on. I have big goals and aspirations, like I'm sure many of you listening do. Because I've spent essentially so much time alone, I'm very cautious with who I put my time and energy towards because it's an investment in them and something that I can't get back. Everyone that is hearing this episode right now is probably at a different stage of their life, but regardless, I think it's very crucial to always be aware of how much time you are putting towards other people. So lesson number 3, be mindful of who you spend your time and energy on. Both are something we can never get back, so it is important to be aware of who we give our attention to. And number 4, own your truth. Looking back, I had a lot of shame during this time of my life. As I said before, I wasn't getting girls, so I felt like I wasn't as desired as other males. I didn't want to tell anyone that I was on this path because I was afraid of being judged. Knowing what I know now, I wish I had just owned it from the jump and not cared to share or express what I was feeling. I was already on that path that I had created for myself by doing a different route and driving Uber full-time, against all my peers who had went and got a full-time job. So I don't know why I wasn't confident to just admit this when somebody had asked. This was just one of those areas that I truly was too scared to actually admit, and hence why I wanted to talk about it today. So lesson number 4, own your truth. No matter where you're at in your life or how you feel, just own it and be unapologetic about it. If people judge you for it, are they really the people you want to have in your life? To recap, I never intended for 1,000 days of celibacy. It kind of just happened. What started as a way to create a boundary around myself so that I could focus on figuring out what I wanted to do with my life ended up teaching me some really important lessons. 1,000 days of celibacy taught me these 4 lessons. 1, fall in love with yourself first. We need to get to know the person we see in the mirror first before we spend any time or energy trying to attract love from someone else. Number 2, happiness doesn't come from someone else. Yes, an intimate relationship will bring a certain joy, but we can find happiness in our day-to-day lives by having gratitude for the journey that we are on. Number 3, be mindful of who you spend your time and energy on. Both are something that we can never get back, so it is important to be aware of who we give our attention to. And number 4, own your truth. No matter where you're at in your life or how you feel, just own it and be unapologetic about it. If people judge you for it, are they really people that you want in your life? Challenge for the listeners. Spend 10 minutes within the next 24 hours and consider if there's anything in your life that is distracting you from becoming the best version of you. For me, that meant eliminating dating for some time, which led to the celibacy. But for you, it could be something else. All that I ask is you take a moment to pause, think about it, become aware of it, and make a decision if or what changes may need to be made moving forward. We did not have a pod review of the week. If you'd like to be next week's pod review, please head over to the iTunes podcast app, scroll to the bottom, leave a 1-word or 1-sentence review. If you're on the Spotify app, underneath the album art of the podcast, you can rate the show from 1 to 5 stars. We want the 5 stars, but hey, I can't control if you leave that or not. But that really, really does help out with the show. If you've done both of those or either of those previously, screenshot this episode today if you enjoyed it, and let me know, what did you learn from this episode? Any specific takeaways? Post it to your IG story. Tag me at Babe. That's BO, 3 B's, 4 A's and a Y. And I'd be really curious to know how this specific episode changed you. Share it out because you never know. Somebody that is friends with you might see the title of the episode and it might be something they want to learn more about. So please do so today. That is the best way to help grow the show. That's it. Episode 191, 1,000 Days of Celibacy. Fall in love with yourself first. Happiness comes from within. Be mindful of who gets your time and energy and own your truth. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya.